Received this Hamilton pocket watch for inspection and possible servicing. It has 2 fobs connected to it. This one is designed to have some initials engraved on the face of it. The case has a nice floral design engraved on both sides. It's a hardwood special and has a nice fancy dial on it. They were commissioned by J.R. Schaefer & Son and sold in the 1800s from the store located in Iowa. Dial itself is trimmed in gold highlights and is in excellent shape. Several scratches on the second-hand track from the second-hand rubbing on it. A few small dents can be seen on the inside of the front cover. It's missing the crystal. Nice keystone watch case. Remove these fobs so they don't get in the way. Lever set mechanism works good. Remove the hands. Lots of dirt on the square of the winding stem. Loosen the case screws. Pull the movement out. Now to take a look at it and see what we have to work with. In general, the movement is dusty and dirty. I found several issues while disassembling. One of the pallet jewels has a small fracture right next to the fork slot, where it's mounted. This won't create any issues, so no need to replace. This escape wheel and all the train wheels have been marked with 2 to 3 punch marks by someone on this movement, possibly a person unfamiliar with the movement, to help reassemble it correctly. Each gold-plated wheel has several punch marks on one side. This clasp reads L Manufacturing Company. This one was made by Acme. Mainspring is set and is an old blued carbon steel type. I'll be replacing it with a modern stainless steel alloy type. Rust pits on the pallet fork arbor. Not an issue, so no need to correct. Someone has scratched an X1 on the pallet fork horn. Not sure what this represents. Broken screw head on the hairspring mount. I'll find a replacement for it later. The balance jewel screws aren't the same height, and one of the heads has metal burred over common to the screw slot. One of the winding pinion bridge screws is sticking up above the bridge. It also has the incorrect finish on it. It should be blued like the other 3. Tool damage on this screw head. Someone slipped off with a dull screwdriver tip. After removing them, I can see the threads don't match. The one on the right is the replacement. The brass threads in the movement plate have been butchered now. I'll look into this later. Here you can see where the brass cap jewel setting has been marked for position. It helps to relocate the jewel when reassembling after cleaning. These plate jewels don't have cap jewels, so no need to mark their location unless removing them. Someone has marked all of them fairly deeply. The jewel is damaged on this one. Appears to have happened when the jewel setting was marked. Remove these 2 setting screws. I'll modify the head on this one so it sits flush like the original one. Since the threads are different from the original, it's best to use if possible, or bigger issues could arise. The broken jewel for the pallet fork. Time to remove the jewel and setting and look for a replacement. I'll use this jewel plate to check the diameter of the pallet fork pivot. Looks like it's a 0.24 millimeter. Now to check the original jewel hole size. .24 millimeter fits it perfect. Measure the OD of the jewel setting. With any luck, I can find one larger that can be dressed down. I have each one of these bottles sorted and marked. This paper is the key to locate the correct bottle. Hopefully I can locate an original Hamilton jewel in a setting. Here's one. Brass setting is slightly larger, so we'll need to dress it down to fit the plate. Fits nice and snug. Remove the balance staff jewels so they can be cleaned and oiled. One small drop of oil on the cap jewel is all that's needed. Balance jewels are all cleaned and oiled. Time to install them. Small amount of putty to hold the pallet fork in place to help with assembly. Helps to have some on the escape wheel as well. Fourth wheel. Center wheel. Third wheel. Front plate. Nice, fell right into position. Main spring barrel. Oil the train pivots. Mount the balance assembly. Has excellent motion. I can tell it's going to be a good timekeeper. Cannon pinion. Minute wheel, hour wheel, dial, tighten the dial feet fasteners. I always attempt to use something soft like wood or plastic to set the hands in place. Using tweezers or steel tools, put scratches on the centers of the hands. Using a polyurethane plastic hand pusher prevents tool marks on the hands. Crystal gauges come in many sizes and shapes. For this one, I need one with a millimeter gauge on it. Need to measure the opening for the crystal on the bezel. Slightly over 43 millimeters. Best to measure in several locations to allow for an out-around bezel. Using calipers, it's 43.3 millimeters. With any luck, I'll find one that doesn't need to be ground to fit this bezel. Crystal sizes are on the sides. These bottom numbers correlate to the size of watch movements. This is an 18 size, so I'll look on this row. These are new, old stock, possibly from the late 1800s or early 1900s. Sizes are marked on the crystals using the line numbering system, which originated in France before the metric system was introduced. The size I need is 19 3/16 when converted to the French line measuring system. Clean the crystal cutout in the bezel with some alcohol. I'll be using some crystal adhesive, so the cutout needs to be nice and clean. Finish up with a toothpick. I located a crystal that fits perfect. It also needs to be cleaned where it mounts to the bezel. There's been many types of crystal adhesives available throughout the years. If the crystal fits loose, a 2-part clear epoxy works good. If the crystal fits snug, this type of adhesive works good just as well. As you can see, the crystal fits snug, so I'll be using this adhesive to help keep it secure. When using this, the heat from your fingers will cause the adhesive to flow out the tip. I find it best not to squeeze the tube, or there will be a mess. Fits perfect and looks great. A nice running grade 925 Model 1 Hamilton.